What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing another review video. This is my third part to the whole review series of reviewing different bass fishing brands. The first part was reels, the second was rods, and the third is going to be creature baits or craws and also finesse worms. I'm going to go over the two best brands for those types of baits regarding bass fishing. This is obviously an opinion-based video. You guys might think otherwise, but what I've learned over the years of me fishing, these brands work the best for what I like to do and probably a lot of what you guys like to do as well. I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to start with the creature baits, and then I'll move on to the finesse worms after. Creature baits and craws I use probably the most out of any soft plastic. I Texas rig them with weights. I put them on the backs of jigs. I put them on shaky heads. There's so many uses for them. They're great baits. But I would say number one thing I do is probably put them on the back of a jig as a trailer. Number two is Texas rig. Now, these three baits that I picked out all work great for those two things. The first one I'm going to go over is the Strike King Rage Tail. That is a very, very well-known type of craw. It is probably one of the most commonly used one and one of the highest selling. I love this bait personally. You can see the packaging. That's one reason I love it. It's got a plastic shell on the inside, so you don't have baits just thrown in. They might be misshapen or something. That does not happen with these because they have a nice plastic shell. Also love their coloring. I use watermelon red flake the most. And this watermelon red flake is probably one of the best ones I've seen. It's got a lot of red flake in the middle. If you are throwing it and there's sun out, it'll hit that, it'll shine, attracts fish. Another thing I love this for is most of the baits that I use, I look for this because it's a really good thing, is the ridges on the ends of the craws. If you have ridges on the end of a craw, then it's going to flap in the water. As you're pulling it through, it's going to flap back and forth like crazy. And that action drives fish crazy, which is why I always look for that on a craw. And this has that. That's another reason I like it. I also like it because they have a baby size, which as you can see, that's pretty tiny. And it works perfect for throwing it on like a 1/4 ounce jigs. It's a perfect size for that. So that's why I always pick these, because they've got that size. Another brand I'm going to move on to, which you guys probably have heard of, they just launched, but they're very popular, is Googan Baits. These are obviously the baits made by the Googan Squad, a very popular YouTube channel, a group. These are a bit bigger. They don't have a baby size in these, so that's why I mainly just use these for Texas rigs and flipping and pitching under brush piles and that kind of stuff. These probably have an even bigger ridge on the end of the craw, which is something I really love, because this is probably even more dramatic than that Strike King one, which gives it even more action. This is also a very, very strong soft plastic material. I've noticed that you can use a bait for multiple fish catches. It holds together very well. It does not fall apart. It's a very strong plastic and it's very soft. It's got a ton of action, and overall I love it. They've got a ton of colors to pick from, and also they do have that plastic package, that wrap package that keeps the baits pristine before you use them. Now I'm going to move on to the third and final craw that I personally love, and that is Yum. Now, first, right off the bat, you can tell they probably don't look as nice as the other two, but these are a whole lot cheaper. I think I bought the Googan baits for around $6, probably the same for Strike King. These were I think these were under $3, maybe at $3, but probably half the price. And for what you get in the Yum craws, it's outstanding for $3. That's why I like to buy these, because I don't always love spending a ton of money, yet I do sometimes. But these are a great alternative if you don't want to spend too much money. They are still great baits. These are a bit different. They don't really have ridges on the craws. It's more of a fat craw. It's not thin at all, and it's just rounded, which also does give quite a bit of action. They definitely have like a longer body. Their body, it's a bit longer than most, but I really like it. These are really good if you're wanting to throw on, like, say a 1/2 ounce jig. If you cut the body in half and then put it on there, it's a great trailer. I do that all the time with these. And like I said, they're just a great bait for the price. Okay, So those are my creature baits. I would say if I had to rank them, but they're all really close. That's why in this video I'm not going to pick like a certain brand like I did for the other ones. I'm bringing multiple in because there's so many brands when it comes to soft plastics that it's just hard to choose because there's so many that I like. But I would probably say that the Strike King one is going to be number one. The baby one, the baby Rage Craw, number one for jig trailers in my opinion. I would say that the Yum is probably number 2 for trailers, and then the Guggen Bait is probably 3. Now, I personally love the Guggen Bait the most for just Texas rigging. I don't use it as much for jig trailers. I leave that to Strike King and Yum. Just because I feel like they have a more slender body. They can fit on the end of a jig a bit better, whereas these ones are a bit chunkier, they're a bit bigger, which works really well for Texas rigs. Don't get me wrong. I throw them on Texas rigs all the time. Catch a lot of fish on them. They're great baits. Alright. So as you can see, I'd probably put, I don't know, I couldn't rank them all just like overall, but number 1 for Texas rigs is Guggen Bait's Kraken Craw, and number 1 for jig trailer is Strike King Rage Tail, the baby Rage Craw. Now I'm going to move on to my second most type, not my second favorite, but another type of fishing that I do a lot for bass, which is finesse fishing. I use finesse worms. I Texas rig finesse worms. I wacky rig them. I drop shot them. There's so many uses for them, and this is the bait that I use when I can't catch anything. If I go to a lake, I can't catch anything. I just want to catch some fish. It's not going to catch size all the time. It's going to catch a lot of numbers, but I'm completely fine with that. And so these are kind of different categories because this is a Senko worm, so it's a bit bigger. And then I've got 2 finesse worms, which are a bit slender presentation. So I'm just going to go over this one first. This is Gary Yamamoto Senko. Here I can show you the inside. It's a Senko. It's very well known. It's pretty much the best Senko or just straight tail worm on the market. And it really is. There's nothing to talk about this bait, really. It's just the best you can find. It's super expensive. They go for like $8 or $9, which is a bit ridiculous, but they're a great bait. I use these a lot when I'm wacky rigging any type of bait and when I'm just Texas rigging it without a weight. The amount of action that gets out of this plastic, it's the perfect consistency plastic. There's so much action. They've got so many different colors. And probably the number one thing about it is the strength of the plastic. It's probably one of the strongest plastics I've used. It holds together super well, and it's got a large amount of salt in it. Like if you break one of these things open, it's pretty hard. You pretty much cut it. But if you look on the inside, you can see like pockets of salt, and I think that's the main key to this bait is it draws fish in really well because it doesn't only. And I'm not sure if it's really salt, but from my knowledge, there's salt in all around this bait and all on the inside. It's an amazing design. It attracts tons of fish, gives it a lot of scent. Now I'm gonna move on to finesse worms, which is I probably use more finesse worms than I do straight tail body worms like this. So my number 1 is gonna be Zoom, and this is Zoom's Super Salt Plus Finesse Worm. Now, number 1 reason why I'm using Zoom, a lot of you people are going to think, oh, Zoom, they're probably a garbage bait company, right? They're cheap, you know. They are on a lot of baits, I'll give you that. But on these finesse worms, these are very, very good baits. Zoom makes them cheap. They put a ton in the package. That's something I really love. Is a lot of bait companies nowadays, like they're not going to put too many in the package. Like here, I think you get like 8 in this. Like literally, it's an 8-pack of worms, okay? Now, Zoom, on the other hand, this is used, okay? I probably use like a 1/4 of them. So there is quite a bit in Zoom's pack. They put a lot. They fill them, which is something that it's rare to see nowadays because most bait companies only put about 8 in a package now, which is really a ripoff, especially for the price. Because a lot of bait companies, especially like this Gary Yamamoto, they put 8 in a package and they're like $8. So that's like $1 a bait. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. Zoom, I think, go around $4 or $5, and I'd say they put around 15 or more in a pack. I love these because they're super slender. You can see they have a bigger body at the front and then a really tiny end. It works really well for drop shot fishing. That's probably my number 1 thing is drop shot fishing with that. Now, number 2 is definitely going to be a Biospawn Plasma Tail. These are they're a bit different. I use these also a lot for drop shots. I love to drop shot fish. I do it all the time. And I'd say my two that I use the most is Zoom and Biospawn. Biospawn, that's their name. Biospawn Plasma Tail. It's got a very interesting design. Again, it's got a big front. It's a little bit thicker up top than most, so it's a bit different like that. But if you can see, I'm gonna pull one out of the package just to show this. It's got a bigger body, but then it's got a really tiny, when it goes down to the tail, it gets real small like that, and then it forms into like a cone shape, like right there on it. It's like a cone. It's very, very strange. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a cone shape at the end, and it's a very interesting design. I've never seen that on any other baits, and it does a lot of action with that design. I don't know what it is, but it is very good, especially on drop shots. Like I said, it's the best for drop shot fishing in my opinion. One of the best. But yeah, those are basically my views. And again, for the the straight worms, I would have to say that Gary Yamamoto goes #1 for wacky rigging and Texas rigging straight tail worms, whereas Zoom is #1 in my opinion for drop shot fishing. And also one that I don't have here with me is Strike King's straight tail worm. They're finesse worms. Strike King's finesse worm. I don't remember what they're called, but they are a bit different. They're a bit beefier than these. They've got a bigger body, and then they come to a tiny end at the tail. But I use those a lot too. But again, those are a bit more expensive. But if you're looking for like a cheaper straight tail worm or finesse worm to use, definitely go with Zoom. They're very good. You'll definitely get your money's worth with them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's probably gonna be pretty short, but I don't really have much to talk about with these companies other than, with my experience, they're very good. I really like them. They hold up, and they catch fish. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say to you guys is they catch fish. That's the main point here, right? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm hoping you guys like these review videos. I'm gonna try and make some more fishing videos soon if the weather does allow me to. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.